Hello students, today we're going to talk about another way to graph linear functions, and it's a very efficient way. If you practice this and are careful, it's a really nice straightforward way to graph. Here is a linear function, f of x is 2x minus 3, and we want to efficiently figure out what that's going to look like. We have many ways to do that. Probably the easiest way to graph anything is type it into Desmos and see what it says. Another way that we've been practicing is to make a table of values and then take the values from the table and translate them onto the graph. Today, we're going to show you yet another way, which is to look at the numbers that are given to you in the formula or in the equation and use those pieces of information to graph. So the functions we've been giving you are in function notation, and they're also in y equals mx plus b form. This is called the slope-intercept form. This is called the slope-intercept form. It's the slope-intercept form because when you look at the equation, it tells you the slope and it tells you the y-intercept. So we can just pick that information off. What is the slope? Well, the slope is the m, it's the number in front. So the slope in this problem is m. And what's the y-intercept? Yeah, it's the minus 3. It's the negative 3. So the y-intercept is negative 3. Okay, another way we could say that is the b value is negative 3. Another way we could say that is the y-intercept is 0, negative 3. Okay, so the way to graph this is pretty, I have a few little tricks to help you remember. B is the y-intercept. That is where we begin. Okay, so begin. B stands for begin. This is just a trick that I made up. It's a little strategy. Okay, so we will begin by putting the y-intercept on. So this is the y-axis, and we are going to begin by finding 0, negative 3. It's on the y-line, and I'm going to go doop, doop, doop. There is negative 3 right there. That is where I begin. Okay, it's negative 3 on the y-axis. That's the y-intercept. This line is going through the y-axis at negative 3. So this is one of my points on the graph. Right now, this part's a little bit more interesting, but it's also really cool. So we know the slope is m. And we know in this problem, the slope is 2. And the slope is really the rate of change. It's how much up and how much over you're going to go. A lot of teachers have talked about rise over run. So we're going to use this slope as the moving directions. It's going to tell us where to move. So we begin at negative 3, and then we're going to move from negative 3 using this number 2. Okay, I'm not going to go over here. That's wrong. Don't do that. Okay, we're going to move from here to 1, 2, 1, 2. Oh, there's a lot of ways to do that wrong. Okay, so this is probably the hardest part, is figuring out what the slope is telling you to move. So 2 is the same as 2 over 1. You can write whole numbers on top of a 1 because 2 divided by 1 is 2. Okay, so the moving directions here are not just 2. I'm not just going to move 2. I'm going to move 2, and then I'm going to move 1. Now, to move to 1, am I going to go up 2, right 1? Am I going to go down 2, left 1? Up, So the moving directions are really important. Okay, the slope of 2 means I'm going to move 2 and then 1. The 2 is I'm going to move up 2. Okay, and the 1 is I'm going to move right 1. And that's going to tell me where another point is. So let's use our moving directions. Let's move up 2, boop, boop, right 1. Okay, that is a slope of 2. I move up 2, right 1. And the cool thing about the slope is you can use it to keep moving to the next point on the graph. So I can generate a whole bunch of points really fast just by moving up 2, right 1. Okay, a strategy, if you are using a Jamboard, you can hold down the Shift key. That'll give you a nice straight line. Okay, put some arrows on the end. That is what the graph looks like. It has a beginning at -3, and we moved along these slope triangles to find more points. All right, let's play with this right now. So all of these are in y equals mx plus b form. Now this first one, I randomly used the y because sometimes you see it that way. Okay, really in an Algebra 1 class, we should be using function notation, and you should see these as inputs and their outputs. All right, so in this equation, where do I begin? What is the y-intercept? Well, it's -4. So I'm gonna do it this way. 0 goes in, -4 comes out. That's our begin. So before we do anything else, we're gonna go on the y-axis, we're gonna find -4, we're gonna put a point. Okay, what is our moving directions? So the slope in this equation is 2, and this is the one we just did. So that's the same as 2/1, and that's the same as move up 2 and right 1. Rise over run. We're going to rise up 2, and we're going to run over to the right 1. All right, let's see if we can do some more of these, because if you can get this down, then the graphing is taking that information and applying it. It does take practice, but if you can get this part from the equation, these two parts, especially the moving directions, then you'll be able to graph pretty quickly and accurately. And the more you practice perfectly, the more you're going to get efficient at this. All right, how about this one? Where do we begin this one? Well, the b value is 2. So we're going to begin at 0, 2, where the y value is 2. The y-intercept is 2. Okay, and we're going to move -3. Okay, what's another way to write -3? Good. -3/1. Now, is that -3 over -1, or is that -3 over +1? Now that's -3 over +1. Okay, so negative. What's our moving directions if we're going negative? It's not up, it's down. So we're going to move down 3 and right, we're going to run over 1 because that's a +1 under there. Okay, let's do some more. We got a whole bunch of examples, so hopefully by the end you really start to understand here. I don't like that. Let's try again. Okay, good. All right, what's the b? The b is 7, okay, which represents the point 0, 7. Where is that on the graph? Yep. And then the move on this one is a fraction. The slope on this one is 1/2. Okay, I like graphing slope fractions because it's already telling me where to move. So this one, I'm going to move to find the next point on the graph. I'm going to begin at 7, and then from there, I'm going to go move up 1, and how many to the right? Good, right 2. Up 1, right 2. Again, if you can do this part, you're going to be good. Oh my goodness, Miss Bliss. Nice and straight, because that's how I roll. Okay, how about this one? What's the b value here? The b value is the constant. We've been thinking about that. You guys, the idea is if I show you an equation, especially a linear equation, you can get the key information, pull it off, and get it graphed very efficiently. okay, with practice. So this is the b value is -3. So this is beginning at 0, -3 on the y-axis. We are going to move -2/3 up. Do you know this is the one everyone screws up? This one is right here, the one that people get really confused about. So pay attention. All right, what are my moving directions? For this one, you have to decide. Are you going to put the negative with the numerator or the denominator? Not with both. So for me, I'm going to put the negative with the 2, and the denominator is going to be +3. And that's really, really important. The negative does not go with both. It goes with one or the other. So now that I got that straightened out, what are my moving directions? Where am I going to move? Well, I'm going to move up or down. I'm going to move down 2 because it has the negative on it, and then I'm going to move right 3. That's what the slope means. It's telling us the rise over the run. It's telling us how much down we have to go and how much over we have to go on our slope triangle. All right, ooh, these last two look like fun, a little tricky. We can handle this. All right, what's the beginning point here? Good, it's just 1. Okay, so that's the point 0, 1. Whoop, just 1 up from the origin. Okay, what about the coefficient? What about the slope? What about the number in front of x? Not 0. How many x's are there? 1. There's a 1 there that we don't write. So when you're using slope to graph and you don't see a number here, that means your slope is 1. A way to write 1 is also 1 over 1. So the moving directions are really easy. You're going to move up 1 and right 1. That'll show you where the next point is. Okay, last one on here. Again, if you are understanding this, getting the idea, these are the pieces of information you need to graph efficiently. Okay, and then we're going to begin at -2. So that's 0, -2. And same idea here, our moving directions, there's a minus sign in front of the x, the slope, the m value. So that minus sign is actually -1. And this is where it gets tricky again. This is going to be -1 over +1. Okay, so for this one, we're going to move up or down. It's a negative slope, so we're going to be moving down. Move down 1, right 1. All right, sorry, it's a little sloppy. Let's do more. If you can do this, you'll be fine. If you can't do this, you need to pay attention. Oh, these are the tricky ones. All right, where do we begin? Remember, this is y equals mx plus b. That's our form. That's our slope-intercept form. Okay. Is the b 4 or is the m 4? There's no x. So this is your b. Okay, another way to write this function would be n of x is 0x plus 4. Oh, I kind of gave it away. My goodness. Okay, but all that's to say, this is a constant. Okay, so in this problem, the b equals 4, which means the y-intercept is 0, 4. If x is 0, y is going to be 4. All right, I'm sorry I gave it away a little bit. What is the m? What's the slope of this line? The slope is 0. How do we write 0 as a fraction? That's kind of fun to think. It's not 0 over 0. It's 0 over 1. Okay, that means how much do we move up? 0. We move up 0. And how much do we move over? Okay, we rise up 0 and then we run we move up 0 and right 1. All right, these are tricky, but you can always check it on Desmos too, and if you're not sure. All right, let's see. This was the trickiest kind, so let's see if you guys learned something from the last slide. This one I'm beginning at 1, so I'm going to go to the point 0, 1. That's where I'll put my first point when I begin graphing. And then my slope here, the rate of change is -1/5. Okay, what is that? Okay, good. This is going to be the -1 and then the +5. Because a negative divided by a positive is going to give you that negative. If you made them both negative, then that would be negative divided by negative, and then this would have to be positive, which would not be correct. Okay, so what are my directions? Where am I going to move? I'm going to move to find another point, down 1 and right 5. Steps you can follow to graph lines. Takes practice. Okay, y equals mx plus b. What's the b? What's the constant? Is there anything here? It's 0. So for this one, the b value is 0. So we are going to begin right at the origin, right at 0 for x and 0 for y. Okay, what's my moving directions? I'm going to move -2. I'm going to move -2/1. That's my slope. That's my rate of change. So where am I going to go? I'm from 0, 0. I'm going to move down 2 and right 1. Okie dokie. Let's wrap this up. Ooh, this one. Do you remember from the last slide? What's the constant? What's the b value? Y equals mx plus b. R of x equals -x plus 0 again. Okay, so the b value is 0. This is 0, 0. And my moving the number in front of the x, the coefficient, is -1. Okay, which is -1/1, which is down 1, right 1. Okay. All right, if you can do this, you can graph very efficiently. All right, last one of these practice, identifying the information. So, is this the slope or is this the constant? Does it have an x on it? Y equals mx plus b? No, that's like this first one. So the b value, the constant, the y-intercept is -2. So 0 goes in, -2 comes out. And we can begin by graphing doop, doop, down 2 on the y-axis. Okay, so what's the slope? Well, there is no x. So there's no, the coefficient of x would be 0. And this is like the one we started with. 0 is the same as 0/1. So we would move up 0 and right 1. All right, let's apply this and see if we can figure this out. So let me do one of the tricky ones. Let's do f of x is -2/3 x. Let's do this one. -3. Okay, we know we're going to begin at -3, which is 0, -3. Here's the y-axis, and I'm going to begin right there. And then my slope is -2/3, okay, which is the same as -2/3. And my directions are that I will move from this beginning point down 2, because it's rise over run, and right 3. Okay, so let's use those directions. I'm going to use green for go move. Okay, so here's my beginning point. I'm going to move down 2 and right 3, and that's going to be my next point. If I want to do it again, I can move down 2, right 3. That's going to give me my moving directions. Okay, now if you're really on top of this, you could also move from here up to left 3. Okay. Because that's going to stay lined up. Also up to left 3 also is -2/3. All right, you can think about that. I'm going to hold down shift. I'm going to draw a nice straight. Oh, that's too bad. If you guys have straight edges and rulers, wow, I missed twice in a row. Try this again. Much better. Whoa, I really missed 3 times in a row. Let me try from this direction. Aha, that looks way better. Not perfect, but pretty close. If you really want, you can label this line f of x. And some teachers like you to write the whole equation. This is x, by the way. All right, let's do one more. That's how you graph. So begin, put the y-intercept, move, and you're done. Okay, let's do another one. Should we do another one of the tricky ones? Let's do g of x is 2. Okay, this is one of the tricky ones. B is 2. So that is the point 0, 2. So I'm going to go on the graph and I'm going to go find 2. This is the y-axis. This is the y-intercept. The x value is 0. The y value is 2. So I'm going to begin by putting a point on the y-axis where 2 is. Okay, my moving directions for this one are 0. There's no x. So we said that's the same as 0 over 1. So I'm going to move up 0 and right 1. Okay, so from here, I'm going to move, not moving up, haha. I'm going to move up 0 and right 1, and I'm going to be right there. And then I can do it again. Up 0, right 1. Up 0, right 1. Up 0, right 1. Okay. So what happens? This one's kind of special because it's it's a horizontal line. This is the line g of x equals 2. This is a line where all the things coming out are 2. All the y values are 2. It's 2 here, it's 1, 2 here, it's 2, 2 here, it's 3, 2 here, it's 4, 2 here. Every time you put something into the function, 2 comes out. All right, one more tricky one. We'll do, let me get one here. Should have done this before. Let's do this one, negative x minus 2. We'll call this m of x. M of x is negative x minus 2. All right, where's my beginning? Y equals mx plus b, right? So where do I begin? I begin at -2. That's the point 0 for x, -2 for y. That's my y-intercept. That is right here. -2, right here. Okay, where am I going to move? You guys remember? I'm going to move -1. Okay, which is -1 over 1. Which means to get to the next point, I'm going to move with my slope down 1 and right 1. And I can use that over and over and over again to generate more and more points that are on this line. Down 1, right 1. Down 1, right 1. Okay. Or if you want to be really fancy, you could go up 1, left 1. You could go up 1, left 1. Because that also equals -1 if you do that math problem. Okay, and then let's see if I can actually get this line this time. Wait, okay, put some arrows on it. Always good to put arrows. One thing I'm not doing, which I should be doing, is kind of telling you that these are all one. Okay. So this is labeling your scale. I know Mr. Picali really wants you to do that. And Miss Bliss does too. Okay, so this is m of x. As you see, it's a negative slope. If you're not sure, if you're getting confused with using the slope, you can always use Desmos to check. All right, so a lot of students can transfer points from a table to a graph. An algebra student can look at the equation, pick off that really key information, and using especially the slope and the y-intercept to graph linear functions more efficiently, okay, and generate more points on that line. So in math, we try to look for efficient ways to graph functions using those key features of slope and intercept. What do I want to say? Yeah, and the way to get better, these are skills. The way to get better at this is to practice. Practice correctly. Practice perfectly. All right, be good, work hard, keep learning. Have a nice day.